Hey Wargamers, today we have another list review. Today looking at 2,000 points of Tau and a brigade detachment. If you're unfamiliar with how this video series works, basically this is a thing that I do for my patrons over on Patreon. They send me their army lists. I look at those army lists, talk about things I like and dislike about them, and then produce a revised list at the end of the video. So that's what we're doing today. If you want to see either the original or the revised list, both of these are available on the Invasive Wargaming Facebook page. Of course, there's a link in the description below for that. But yeah, that's about it. If you like this video, go ahead, hit like, hit subscribe, and that way you don't miss any of my upcoming battle reports, unit reviews, or other army list reviews, just like this one. Okay, so this is from Landon. Again, he's a patron over on Patreon. And the basic MO that he gave me for this list is that he really wants to focus on the, well, focused fire stratagem for Tau Sept, using a few different special characters and having them play off each other. And so you'll see there's a lot going on in this list, and some of it works better than others in practice, and so we'll kind of tease that apart. But like I said, it's a brigade detachment, so we'll start there. It includes 2 cadre fire blades. These are going to be the backbone of your army in terms of providing both marker light support, but also buffing the considerable number of fire warriors that is in this list. There's also a commander in a Cold Star battle suit. This is the Warlord. It has the Exemplar Manka, allowing it to effectively have the V or Law Sept trait without being in V or Law, which is going to be a really nice component for the Cold Star. It's going to allow him to be able to move and fire without penalty, which is something you definitely want to do with the Cold Star, because he's, you want to move the 20 inches and then also move the 20 inch by advancing. So 40-inch movement total with the Exemplar Manka without any penalty to shooting assault weapons is really nice. And so to leverage that, we have 4 fusion blasters here, again a nice component to that, and then the vectored maneuvering thrusters as a signature system. This is something that is pretty darn good if you are able to kind of ride that 18-inch line. Essentially what the vectored maneuvering thrusters does is allow you to jump, shoot, jump. You move, you fire, and then you can move again and get out of range or out of line of sight from particular enemies. And so having this on a Cold Star is really useful, because one of the biggest challenges to Cold Stars is just having them not go too deep, having them a little bit more protected, and so this does help with that. Something else Landon mentioned in his email to me is that he wants to have the Puretide Engram Neurotrip on one of these fire blades. Totally cool. That's a good choice as well. That's going to cost 1 CP here, so take a bite out of that brigade detachment, 12 CP, but we're swimming in CP, so that's not a big deal. The thing that does concern me a little bit about the Cold Star is it being the commander, or excuse me, being the Warlord. The vector maneuvering thrusters helps with this somewhat, but Cold Stars are vulnerable. They're easy to be a little overzealous with and lose a Warlord. So not only are you losing a really reliable source of firepower, but you're also losing your Warlord, and that can cost you in the game. So in general, I typically prefer having the Fireblade be my Warlord, since he's going to be a little bit more protected. And if that's the case, then give him something like Through Unity Devastation as a Warlord trait instead. But it really depends on your play style. So if you're able to use Exemplar Manka on a Cold Star commander, have him be your Warlord, and not give up Slay the Warlord regularly, it's definitely a nice loadout. Moving on to troops, we have 6 units of Fire Warriors. They're pretty stock here. 5-man units with pulse rifles, including the Shazui. Again, it's important when you're constructing lists to include that Shazui in there, just so that you're clear with your opponent. Then moving into elites, we have 2 Firesight Marksmen. These are basically your Fireblade Light. They are good marker light sources. They are characters, but they are not quite as good as the Cadre Fireblade, and they don't have the buffing abilities for infantry. So but they also are cheaper. So this combined with your 2 Cadre Fire Blades, we're at 4 reliable character marker light sources already. That's a pretty darn good baseline here. Then we have a Riptide with 2 smart missile systems, advanced targeting system, heavy burst cannon, and target lock. That's how I'd run this. I'm really enjoying this loadout for Riptides, and I think it works out really well. Having the advanced targeting system with the heavy burst cannon makes it a little bit more effective. Having it on top of the smart missile system, also a really nice combo, and then the target lock helps the Riptide move to where it needs to move. So valuable there as well. And of course, all these are going to be hitting on 5s in Overwatch when they're nearby other TauOswell units. So that's, having the volume of fire and having the number of marker lights that we have here is going to make Overwatch really devastating already. Moving into fast attack, we have 2 units of Pathfinders. They're both 5-man units with a pulse accelerator drone. The pulse accelerator drone is useful. I think it's a little bit more useful in Borkan because we're able to put that on top of the other 6-inch expansion in range. So we're really getting 6 more inches into our rapid fire range, which is really something to appreciate. Whereas here we're adding a little bit more range, but we're not double dipping with the Borkan trait or anything like that. So I can go either way on this. I probably would say stay away from this if you have better things to use the points on, just because, again, you're not getting that much benefit out of it, and they're single units that are easy kill points. Not that we're scarce for kill points here, but why make things harder than they need to be? Then moving into then we have a tactical drones unit, 8 shield drones. I love the shield drones. They're going to be really important to keeping that Riptide alive, but having 1 giant unit of 8 is really risky, largely because they only have leadership 6. So we'll be looking at losing additional drones just for drones doing what they do, and that is dying. So we really want to split this into multiple units and give us a little bit more flexibility there and not be as beaten down by morale. So I would split that into 2 units. Moving into heavy support, we have a unit of 3 sniper drones. Now I'm assuming that this is primarily just to fill out the heavy support slot for the brigade, but it's 54 points, and they're not going to do that much for you. Yes, sniper drones are good in Overwatch. Yes, sniper drones are good with the focus fire ability, but they are not. 3 sniper drones does not a winning strategy make. You really need more than 3 to get to that critical threshold of drones and mortal wound generation. So really, this is just a tax here, and I would avoid it if possible. Then we have 2 Hammerhead Gun Ships, which are equipped identically. They have ion cannon, 2 smart missile systems, and 2 seeker missiles. This is a great loadout when you consider the 2nd detachment here, which is the Supreme Command Detachment, and that has Longstrike on it. So if we didn't have Longstrike, I would be a little bit skeptical of these Hammerheads and that loadout, but because we have Longstrike, they are going to be able to do a lot more work than they would otherwise, especially with those seeker missiles. They're really going to be a nice battery platform for you. So there's Longstrike. Darkstrider is in here as well. He's going to work out well for those infantry blobs. It's going to be a little challenging for him to really make a big difference because these are relatively small units. Now, the one kind of saving grace with this list in Darkstrider is that there is this stealth suit unit here as well. And stealth suits have the infantry keyword. So Darkstrider's ability can key off stealth suits. And let's see, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 stealth suits. So that's 24 shots that are going to be coming out of this unit here. And he can trigger off that, but nonetheless, it's not a ton of shots. It's a little bit here, a little bit there. He has a marker light. He's a reliable marker light source though too, so there's added benefit there. Finally, we have Shadowsun. She interacts with the stealth suits as well, but her big draw is that she can call Cao Yun twice, and that's going to really benefit a high volume of fire, heavy weapon type of unit. She's not going to really be wanting to run around the battlefield, partially because of Cao Yun functioning, but also because she's just pretty vulnerable if she does. So if we're using her as an anchor unit for Cao Yun, we get a little bit of a weird, mismatch where we want Shadowsun to be going out and doing stuff with stealth suits and being aggressive, but we also want her to stay still and call Cao Yun twice and that sort of thing. So I think we need to reconsider how Shadowsun works in this list. I think the stealth suits are a nice component of it because they key off of multiple HQ units here, but they're more strength 5 shots, and we have a lot of that already. So right now I'm a little bit concerned about how this list is going to deal with opponents that have an abundance of heavy infantry, monsters, vehicles, something like that. We have the Hammerheads and Longstrike, and then the one fusion commander in a Cold Star. But really, I want to see a little bit more flexibility here. So that's probably how I'm going to address this in the revised list. But overall, I think this is a really nice, well-rounded list, but there are a few tweaks that I'm going to make here in the revision that I think are going to make it a little bit sturdier. And so, yeah, let's look at the revised list now. All right, so here's the revision. Again, with any of these Army list reviews, my main goal is to maintain the overall theme or strategy or concept behind the list and then just tweak it to make it a little bit more meta-friendly or aggressive or flexible, depending on what the patron is asking for and everything like that. So I think I've done that here. It requires some pretty big changes to the structure of the army, but I think we're still maintaining the core concept of having a smorgasbord of Tau Sept characters interacting with each other in interesting ways, and then really leveraging all of them in the focused fire stratagem. So I think we're still able to do that, and I think it does it in some slightly different ways than were originally envisioned, but I think the functionality is still there. So if you think differently, or if you think so, let me know in the comments below. One of the best things about this, of course, is that we're able to get your opinion in here as well and figure out a better list, because I can do a lot of these list reviews, but I'm never going to come up with the perfect list, and having the input from all you guys watching just makes it that much better. So please share your thoughts below. All right, so let's get into this. We have 2 battalions instead of the 1 brigade. It does sacrifice 2 CP, but I think the functionality makes up for that. All right, so here we have here we have the 1st Battalion. Again, it's Tau Sept. I'm paying 1 CP for emergency dispensation to put a Pure Tide Engram neurochip on one of the fire blades. In addition, I have Darkstrider and then Longstrike as well. Longstrike taking his railgun, 2 seeker missiles, 2 smart missile systems, just as before. So all this is pretty darn similar to what we started out with. Then moving into troops, I have 3 5-man units of fire warriors with pulse rifles. Again, because I'm moving away from a brigade and into 2 battalions, I am splitting those 6 units between the 2. So, spoiler alert, there's going to be another 3 strike teams later on. Going into the heavy support classification here, we have 2 hammerheads Again, ion cannon, smart missile systems, but this time one of them has just one seeker missile. That's just because we ran out of points. But giving up a couple seeker missiles, yeah, it's not the end of the world. We like seeker missiles, but we don't absolutely need them to be part of the list. Then the second battalion here, again, Tau Sept, another Fireblade. So that's Darkstrider and 2 Fireblades already, so that's 3 solid marker lights right off the bat. Then we have a commander in a Cold Star battlesuit with 4 fusion blasters and the vector maneuvering thrusters. Again, I think this is a good trait or a good setup. But if we were a little bit more concerned about CP, we could drop this, and I think it'd still be fairly functional. You don't necessarily need to take the thrusters. And then Shadowsun is here as well. You'll notice that for Shadowsun, I dropped her 2 shield drones. Now those are better shield drones than the normal shield drones, but the main idea here is that she's going to be shielded. She's going to be hanging out with other people, and so we don't necessarily need those extra shield drones. They are better, like I said, so you don't necessarily need to use them to support Shadowsun. They could do things like support the Riptide, but yeah, for economy's sake, I didn't include the shield drones here. Then moving into troops again, here are those 3 units of 5 fire warriors. Elites, I have that same old Riptide. And then for fast attack, I just have a unit of 4 shield drones. And this is where things get pretty different. So you'll notice I dropped the stealth suits, I dropped the pathfinders. We are a little bit scarcer on marker lights, but if we're using our pure Titanium Neuro chip to recycle CP and also the networked or the uplinked marker light, we're going to be able to actually explode our marker lights fairly well and get to 5 marker lights when we really need it. Yeah, so those are kind of the big changes to list, and what we got in exchange for that is a unit of broadsides. Unit of broadsides with missile pods and smart missile systems can actually be pretty darn good. And then we have 3 shield drones in here as well to help support them. And the idea here is now, instead of Shadowsun running around with the stealth suits that are running around with Darkstrider, this kind of posse of stealth suits running around, now Shadowsun can really do what she's best at, and that is calling Cao Yun, and these are who she is going to call that for. So we're going to have this onslaught of missiles, and then having Cao Yun on top of it is really just going to be really effective. Now you notice I did not include advanced targeting systems here. You certainly could do that. You would just need to basically drop the shield drones, and that's totally an okay way to go. In fact, I probably would prefer that, but I'm a little nervous about the lack of drones in this list as it is, and we're trying to kind of wedge all these different things in there. Another option would be to drop Darkstrider, but again, that's losing marker light support. So we're kind of pulling ourselves in a few different directions here, and that means there's going to need to be some compromises. I think this strikes a fairly decent compromise, but again, let me know what you think in the comments below. So yeah, that's the list. The main idea here is that we have this nice block of infantry. We have a solid gun line with that infantry, and the broadsides with Shadowsun calling Cao Yun twice. We have our Fireblades and Darkstrider supporting those infantry, and then we have the Riptide able to pick off things from afar, as well as the Cold Star. So this gives us a nice rounded list. We're able to take out lots of different things. I think this list is going to struggle against things that are able to take out infantry and broadsides equally well. Broadsides are pretty darn durable, but we're investing a lot of points in them. So if they fall that's a big loss to us in this list. But overall, I think it's pretty well rounded and will function well for you. So let me know what you think in the comments below. Again, both lists are in the link to the Invasive Wargaming Facebook page. And of course, if you want me to do a video like this for you, head on over to Patreon and join our community there. As always, thanks for watching, and of course, happy wargaming.
Hey everyone, this video was made possible by my supporters over on Patreon. If you also enjoyed this video, consider joining our community over there. Special thanks to Max Harrison, NoExcusesPanda, Paul Lueders, TauOswell, Nick Steele, Jared Egeler, Brian Mann, Jake Johnson, Eric Jackson, Cristofer Sarale, Youhei Penguin, Andy M. Young, Peter Benjamin Parker, and Giovanni DiMaggio.